Hey, Axview here. A question many people are wondering right now is whether the new Donald Trump administration can effectively stimulate the economy over the next few years. The United States economy is in a relatively stable and healthy place right now. The official unemployment rate is around 4.7%. This is a rate that economists consider full employment. That means mostly everyone who is looking for work is indeed working. But Wall Street is excited about a lot of new economic growth because Donald Trump vows to cut business taxes, to invest in new infrastructure projects, and cut business regulations. All this can fuel business investment and fuel consumer demand, creating a lot of new wealth for the country. But if we're near full employment, is there enough labor force to even be hired for new jobs that would be created? So if we consider it this way, new consumer demand, so more people going out and buying things, would put pressure on businesses to hire more employees and invest in more resources to compensate for that growth. But if there aren't enough workers around to fill those jobs, then businesses would have to start raising prices very quickly, which is inflation, so the increase in prices. And this would drastically start to cut back on consumption very quickly as well, because consumers wouldn't want to pay those higher prices. So it's a very steep uptick and a very slide right back down, a very quick one, because then that's what's considered economic overheating. So that could cause a very quick uptick in economic growth, but also in prices, and therefore a very quick slide right back down into a recession. What we fear and what we don't know is whether there is enough American workers looking for work and able to work to fill those jobs if that economic growth were to happen. Over the last 8 years, we've had a lot of steady, healthy growth, which maybe isn't too rapid for some people's desires, but if the economy is growing with population, then there are enough workers to fill the steady job growth that occurs month to month, around 125,000 new jobs a month. But if there's a lot of new job openings, but not the workers to fill them, then the economy will go into that economic overheating and a recession will soon occur. So we look at certain economic statistics to evaluate whether this is happening or not. So besides the U3 unemployment rate, which is that official rate, we can look at the U6 rate, which counts part-time workers who are working part-time but want to be working full-time. That rate is a little higher than pre-recession levels of 2008. That means those workers do want to be working full-time. So if the economy were to grow very quickly right now, some of those workers could transition from part-time work to full-time work, provided that they're in the right geographic location and they have the right information like job training, job skills and education, and access to job websites to get those jobs. Then those could fill the new growth. We also look at U5 employment, which is discouraged workers, so people who have simply given up looking on work because they haven't found it. If we could encourage those workers to come back into the labor force, then those people could fill the jobs as well. But that rate is very low. That rate is actually right near pre-recession levels, so there might not be enough people in that pool to fill new job openings. So then we look at the labor force participation rate, which counts the actual percentage of Americans who are working. That rate is around 62-63%, and it has been on a decrease ever since the early 2000s. So for almost 2 decades now, that rate has been declining. Most economists try to give the reasons of that baby boomers are retiring right now because they're aging and they're near 60 years old, and they're leaving the labor force. And there's also more students, more young people staying in education, going on for advanced degrees, going on to college, and therefore they're not working either. If those two aren't the complete reasons why the labor force participation rate is on the decline, there might be some workers who aren't in the labor force that could come back in if economic growth does occur. So if Donald Trump does effectively stimulate the economy, there is a chance that there won't be economic overheating, but there is a legitimate fear among economists that we could experience economic overheating soon. If all this new growth does occur, we might suffer from a recession in the coming years. So stay tuned on all those statistics that I've mentioned and look for those triggers that might cause economic overheating in the near term. because a lot of quick growth may mean soon very rapid economic crash into a recession again. We'll see in the near term. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching.